And Stephanie, I'd like to invite you to come on now and is leap into your presentation.
All right, thank you very much. Let me go ahead and share. I hope this is right. Can you see that? Nope.
Not yet.
How about how about that?
Yep, that's it. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about traditions and climate change and tell you some cuentos from my hometown here in Chimayo. I am not um, originally from Chimayo. I'm from Albuquerque, lifelong, several generation New Mexican. Okay, so I am currently a member of Healthy Climate New Mexico, a board member, but in my previous life, I was the Environmental Public Health Tracking Manager at the New Mexico Department of Health. And we spent quite a bit of time addressing climate issues. Here's a few of the projects we worked on. We did some well water sampling post fire after the fires up in Mora. We worked closely with the Forest Service, NMED, and others to develop smoke advisories, and I'm sure that work still continues. And we also work closely with the National Weather Service to develop heat warning criteria. So I'm not going to spend too much time on data because Chelsea did such a wonderful job. But I did want to point out a couple of different things that she made from a different perspective. Um, so cold-related illness deaths in New Mexico tend to cluster in the northern part of the state, as you can see on the left side of the slide. But heat-related illness deaths are kind of all over the map. And you can see the concentration up in the northwest corner and some deaths down in the south. So with McKinley County being the highest rates for both of those, you have to figure there's more going on here than just the temperature. I think we really need to look very closely at the social determinants of health to find out why people are dying from climate-related illness. So how hot has it been lately? This slide is from the near real-time data on the tracking portal. And the top graph shows the high temperatures. The 67 degrees was last year's high temperature for March 2025. And you can see the 82-degree temperature was a record in March 2026. And this is for the Northeast region, which encompasses Rio Arriba County. And in March 2025, the emergency department visits recorded in the tracking, the essence that was the near real time that Chelsea explained so nicely, was about 3.5 calls for March. And this year it went up to 17.3 calls per 110,000 visits. So you can see there's been quite an increase. It really does correlate. One other climate-related illness is West Nile virus. And this slide shows the rates of West Nile virus over the years. And in 2023, as Dave had mentioned, there was an exceptionally hot and kind of anomalous year. And the number of West Nile virus cases really skyrocketed that year with 80. West Nile virus is closely associated with warm, mild winters and drought. and then also with increases in rainfall. So this might be something we need to look out for this year, because that's a similar pattern as we're seeing. So last year there was a flood in Chimayo, and I happened to get stuck in it. This wasn't my slide, but I did see this in person. This was a really brief but catastrophic rainfall on August 29th. And we have a real concern because there's a dam, there are several dams above Chimayo that were built in the 60s and have not seen a lot of action and have not been upgraded. Although I noticed they have been working on the dams of recent. So I'm hoping that we're all hoping that we won't see that kind of devastation this year. Several people were affected by this and had their private wells contaminated during this flood. Okay, now a bit to the cuentos. This is Mr. Wilfred Romero, and he was Mardomo on our sequía, which is La Cañada Ancha, for many years until very recently. In 2023, though, he was one of those 80 cases of West Nile virus. And he relayed to me how it affected him. He said, I was in the hospital for about 1 week, and then I was sent to a rehab hospital for a few more weeks. Because the virus attacks the central nervous system, I lost the ability to walk. It was very frustrating because the brain knows how to do things, but the body doesn't do them. And I also lost about 95 pounds during my illness. So it's really, these are real stories, you know, there is definitely impact. Another cuento is from John Trujillo. He's an apple farmer. And I asked him how he's seen changes over the years. He's been doing this for many years, and his father was an apple farmer as well. And he said the apples are burned from the hotter sun temperatures and are harder to sell because of that. The temperature extremes, such as late frost, make crop yields very unpredictable. And he sees more invasive species growing along the acequia, which makes them harder to claim, such as the Russian olive, which is pretty nasty, and tamarisk. He also says that he's got a problem with elk coming down from the mountain, and they come and eat the tops of his trees, which is pretty horrible. He also discussed the fact that water flows are diminished from previous years. And he's really adapted different methods. He uses tanks. These are his irrigation tanks, which he fills from the acequia. He also waters through a well, and he flood irrigates when possible. He puts reflectors under the trees to prevent frost kill, and he has to use cold storage for his apples before they go to market because the heat is so hot in the summer that it would ruin his product. Thirdly, I'd like to talk about Mr. W.A. He was the Mayordomo's son, and he explained some of the cultural practices that used to take place. He said that back in the day, people would all gather at the chapel just down the road from me. That's here. And they would say a prayer before the cleaning of the acequia. Everybody would participate, or they would send a peon to do the work. And he said that some folks started at the the presa or the beginning of the ditch, the head gate, and others would start at the desagüe or the end of the ditch. And they'd clean till they meet in the middle, and then they'd have another prayer. It doesn't quite work like this now. Today, this is a picture of this picture on the left here. My husband is the one bent over in the middle there. He is the current Mayordomo, and things get pretty devastated. This is the picture on the right is the picture of the presa after the last flood, and now it takes heavy equipment. So crews are hired. It takes money. It takes heavy equipment to move things around. It's a much different environment, and just the traditional ways are definitely being lost. A couple of farm facts. There's been a big decrease, a 70% decrease in the numbers of farms in New Mexico. And the average age, and this is a couple of years old, so I'm sure they're even older now, the average age of farmers is 60 years. So agriculture is changing quite a bit in New Mexico. So the question is, can a Sequia tradition survive? The challenges are many, and we're definitely seeing that this year with diminishing snow melt. This was the driest year for snow ever, and we're experiencing extreme drought because of it. There's great unpredictability of the weather. We see these catastrophic storms pop up, which can be quite devastating. The extremes in temperatures are quite a challenge, and there's a lack of interest among the paseantes. The traditions just aren't there. People don't support themselves through agriculture as often as they used to. We also have a very aging population, and the infrastructure is aging as well. So some of the potential solutions that we might employ to combat this are to improve the infrastructure. And we could also look towards alternative energy sources and cut our reliance on fossil fuels, which would go a long way to helping improve the climate. Farmers can turn to use of permaculture methods. Also, we need to think about engaging the youth again, because the traditions are definitely being lost. And finally, we all need to remember that water is life and is precious to us all. And where's my next slide? And with that, I will conclude. And I want to thank you very much. And I want to echo what Melissa said. Please consider joining Healthy Climate New Mexico.